Teachers. I'm here today to talk to you about your Mac desktop. So I'm going to navigate through some slides that we'll have available for you on Kick, on our KISD Kick website. But also I'm going to be using my actual desktop of my Mac to show you around. So let's get started. The first thing up is the menu bar. So in the top left corner, you're going to always see the Apple. It always is going to be there. No matter what program or app you're in, you'll have the Apple menu. That's part of the menu bar. Along the top, depending on what app you're in, so I'm seeing the word Chrome because I was actually using Chrome. It's pulling the slides from the Chrome browser. So if I were to click on the desktop area, I would see Finder. So it kind of depends on what app you're in as to what item you see next to that apple. It's going to correlate with the app that you're in. So if you were in Microsoft Word, it would say Word. If you're in Chrome, like you just saw, it would say Chrome and so forth. And then most menus, depending on what app you're in, are going to look very, very similar. You might have some additional items there, but they usually say File, Edit, View, and so forth. So you can kind of see the interface there. If I were to click back on my Chrome window, I would get a few more things like history and bookmark and so forth. So it depends on where you've clicked on your desktop. Now let's go over to the right side. The right side has a lot of options, and I love the new look of our new OS, Big Sur. We are going to talk about some of those, but I'm sure a lot of them look very familiar to you. It's if you've used an iPhone or an iPad, it's starting to look a little bit more like that interface. In the slide, you see I've pointed out the status menus. We'll talk later about the spotlight, the little magnifying glass. We're going to talk about Siri. I don't have it on right now because I'm going to show you later how to turn it on if you choose. You can always see the time and the date. I love that because in the old operating system, you would have to click there to see the date. And then we can also open the control center with this button here, but we're going to do that in a little bit. So let's start out with Spotlight. I love the Spotlight. It's my favorite way to find things. So let's say I didn't have Chrome open. I am actually going to start with this second bullet here. It says to press Command Spacebar. So I'm going to press that on if you could only see my fingers on my keyboard, you would see that I'm pressing Command and Spacebar. And then I can simply type in what I'm looking for. And there's Google Chrome. Now, some of you may not have a button on your desktop or shortcut or a shortcut or button on your dock, which is that lower portion of the screen there. So if you don't, this is a quick and easy way to get into Chrome if you don't have the shortcuts available to you as readily available as maybe your old laptop. Okay, so then I would click on Chrome, which I already have it running. But you can do that with anything. I have another one I use a lot, Camtasia. So very, very easy. It's called Spotlight, and it searches your hard drive. Now I'm going to click off of that and it'll go away. Another thing you can do to pull it up is clicking on the Spotlight button in the top right corner, and it pulls that up. One of my favorite things. One thing that I want you to note when you're going through this slideshow on your own, or if you happen to browse it through the Kick website, you will have a more information link for more information. We can only cover so much in these slides, and we want to make this training short. But if you do want to learn a little bit more about it, please click on those and utilize those additional resources. Next up is the Control Center. The Control Center now looks very similar to the iPad OS and the iOS interface. It has this little icon here in the menu bar. And depending on what you're trying to do, you're going to see sliders. We'll go to it here in just a second, but just like the screenshot here, you're going to see things like AirDrop, volume. So let me click on mine. And there I have information about my Wi-Fi and my Bluetooth. I actually have Do Not Disturb, so my notifications don't pop up as I'm recording this. I can change the display, make it darker or brighter, and change the volume. and then play a video that I might have in another window. I probably do have a video open. It's just minimized. So it's allowing me to click the play button very easily. So I love the new control center. It's been redesigned recently. Turning Siri on. So many of you have used Siri on your iOS devices, but on your Mac, you can turn it on as well. So let's do that. Now, one thing that you'll note, we're going to go to system preferences in these videos a lot for different things. These system preferences are kind of like your old control center on your Windows. If you're a Windows user and you're moving to Mac, you are able to basically customize your Mac experience. So I'm going to click on the Apple and go to System Preferences. And depending on what you want to do, you would click on a different icon. So we, of course, are talking here about Siri. So I'm going to click on Siri. Now, sometimes I get lost in all the buttons. So you can do a very quick search and it will highlight some of the things that have to do with Siri. So I'm going to go to this one and talk to you about just enabling it. So you want to click this to enable it. And then another thing you may want to do is make sure it's on the menu bar with this button here. So let me click that. It's going to ask me if I want to enable it. And by default, it does turn on the Show Siri in menu bar option. If it's the first time you've ever done this, it might ask you if you want to send data to Apple. You can say not now, or you can choose to. It's up to you. I don't know if you'll be able to hear
Hi, I'm Siri.
these
Choose the voice
voices.
you'd like me to use.
So I hope you could hear that, but if not, it just gave me a quick message so I can hear the voice. There's a couple voices I can choose from. And then it looks like everything's good. I mean, I can see some keyboard shortcuts and things like that. But over here on the right in my menu bar, next to the time and the date, I have now a new Siri icon. I'm going to go ahead and model this by looking for an address. So watch. What is the address for Keller Center for Advanced Learning?
The street address for Keller Center for Advanced Learning is 201 Bursey Road, Keller.
Okay, and you saw how easy it was for me to disable it and then just click turn off. So that is so awesome. You can have Siri here on your Mac laptop or desktop. Okay, we just did the Ask Siri. Now I am on a desktop, so I didn't see a microphone key. I'm using kind of an older one, but if you have a keyboard that has this, you can use some of these other options or touch bar, but I know not everybody does. The notification center I mentioned earlier because I have mine on Do Not Disturb, but all you do to get there is click your date and time up in the top right corner in your menu bar. Depending on how you have it set up, you're going to have different widgets. So you see my screenshot here. So I'm going to click on mine and I have a lot of widgets showing. I probably need to customize mine a little bit. Here's some old notifications that I can either X or I can click on and have them expand and then deal with each one of them. So I want to hide those. Now, if I want to go down to the bottom, I can click Edit Widgets and edit these things. Maybe I don't want this showing, or maybe I do. You know, I can definitely even customize the way it looks. And once I have the widget the way I want, I am going to go ahead and click the little plus sign. And it will add that widget over to my notification area. The desktop, I know many of you want to know how to change the desktop picture to something that is more customized to you. So again, it's back to the system preferences. So hopefully you'll remember how to do that. And if you are still stuck in an area like earlier, we were looking at the Siri options, you just click the back arrow, the left facing arrow to go back to all the options. All right, so I want to click on desktop and screensaver. And then make sure you notice which tab you're on. There's a screensaver tab and a desktop tab. And that's when you can choose one. And you, of course, it gives you the light and the dark based on the time of day. Let's try to pick something a little different. Okay, so there you see it there. And It's kind of weird. There's no save button. You just simply exit out. And on a Mac, it is in the top left corner on the system preferences window. For the dock is kind of like your taskbar on a Windows machine. The dock is in the lower center portion of your screen. And of course, you can customize it and move it, but it is down here. And notice in the screen here on my slide, it shows you all the apps on the dock. And then on the right side, but you do always have that trash. So if you delete something, it goes in the trash. Of course, you could open it up and restore it. And then there's a download stack. So if you click on that, it would pop open. Let's see if I can find mine. I don't have mine showing, but it would pop open your downloads and give you options on which thing you want to open, or if you just want to open a new window. Okay, the app that you want to open, you would just simply click on. I'll click on the App Store just because that's easy, and navigate through. Now notice the menu has changed. So if you just close the window, it's going to keep some of the apps still running, not that one. But if it keeps an app running, the best way to completely shut it down is to click on the menu at the top left and quit. And that will truly quit that app. Okay, so that's one way to open apps is through your dock. You can also drag a file over an app's icon. I love this option for graphics or PDFs. Let's say I want to open a PNG or a JPEG file. Of course, I've saved a screenshot on my desktop, and it's usually, I think it's a PNG. So I want to open that in a maybe not just there's an app called Preview. So if I double click it, Preview typically is the default to open pictures. Let's say I don't want it to open in Preview. Let me quit that for you guys. I want it to open in Snagit. Well, I have Snagit running down here, and I'm going to drag this on top of Snagit, and it's going to kind of bounce at me or blink at me. And there it is. So then I can use the features of Snagit. The advanced options, I'm going to let you read. I don't use those a whole lot. So, and again, just like the other slide, you have a more information link that you can always click on and get more information about the dock. The Finder, this is honestly my favorite part. This is where the organization happens on a Mac. And it is the little smiley face, half blue, half white little image there, and you'll see it on the dock. It always is by default on your dock. And so I'm going to click on that. And if for some reason you don't get a window that pops up, like I mentioned earlier, sometimes it's still running. Now the Finder is always running. You can't really quit the Finder. You can, but you don't want to because things don't work right. But by default, it's typically running. But if you don't get a window that pops up showing you your folders and your files, just click on File, New Finder window. And that will give you that organization that you need to organize your files and your folders. Now, I'm going to show you what's on my desktop. You know what's on my desktop. You saw it back here. But I also, sometimes when I get a lot of files on my desktop, and which, by the way, I don't recommend, it can get very messy, I will come into a Finder window and show my desktop in more of a list fashion. So if you want to look at different ways of viewing your Finder window, you can click on this button here and look at things by icons. So remember, I'm seeing the same thing here that I am over here on the actual desktop. I can look at it with a list. Now, if it's in a list format, you would expand and collapse with that little caret. As columns, which is my favorite, I like to click into my folders that way. And then as a gallery is very cool when you're looking at images. So let's see. You can see my Animoji. So there's my two. So depending on what you're looking at, you may want to choose a different view. Like I said, my favorite's column view. Oops. Okay, so let's go back to the desktop and notice the sidebar in the Finder. If you think that takes up too much real estate on your screen, you can always click on the menu bar, the view option, and then hide your sidebar. There it is. Or view show sidebar. I typically leave mine shown, but I do make it skinnier by taking the right border, waiting until I have a double-headed arrow, and dragging it a little bit more narrow. So there's a ton of ways you can customize this screen, and I'm going to let you do that later. And be sure to access this link because there's a lot of great information. Oh, I did want to mention one more thing. You can go to the preferences of the sidebar. So let's go to Finder, which is right here. Anytime you want to see Finder options, you just click on the desktop and you can find them. Then I'm going to go to Preferences and then Sidebar. And those are things that you either turn on or turn off on your sidebar. So, like connected servers might be important to you, or your downloads. Maybe you access that a lot. Whatever it is that you want to turn on or off, you can do that there. Notice because I am running the Google Drive for Desktop app, I'm going to see my Google Drive, which of course has my drive and my shared drives. So very, very helpful to have it in this interface. A lot of people ask, why do you like this version better? I just think it reacts faster when I'm trying to organize files into folders super fast versus doing it in the web interface. And that's it for today. So thank you so much for joining me for the Mac desktop.